Well, I ran in 2020 or following 2020 when I really became aware of how much politics is local. I was really disturbed during COVID how we lost so much of our constitutional rights. The amount of government overreach that we experienced with the government choosing winners and losers of businesses, who could be open, who couldn't be open, the massive amount of regulations, the isolation. And certainly as a speech pathologist, one of the things I was most concerned about was closing our schools, the length of schools that were closed, and then the constant masking. I was disappointed by the lack of pushback in Frankfurt and certainly government overreach, which is what compelled me to run in 2022.
Initially, I thought about running for the Senate when Senator Schickel announced his retirement in December and was watching for candidates to stand up and saw that Steve Rawlings and Dwayne Frolicker entered the race, but then didn't see anyone step up to run against Marion with 40% of the House state candidates in Kentucky running unopposed. I thought we should not just allow our candidates to run unopposed, and started to look into the voting record of the incumbent and thought I could do a better job with my proven leadership over the years of experience. Yeah, we had an excellent leader in office for a long time, and unfortunately, with the draining of the swamp and the current incumbent and other officials that came in and knocked out the three seats, we sort of knocked the baby out with the bathwater type analogy. Sal did a wonderful job. People that have been around here long enough have experienced the traffic jams and the congestion and the lack of spending in our infrastructure. Know what a wonderful job that Sal had started. And so my job as a technical representative would be to bring that technical expertise back from the north into the state, and then represent our people by bringing some of that infrastructure spending back to the north. We are the largest growing sector of Kentucky. We contribute to over 60% of the state tax revenue, yet we're not seeing that infrastructure build out like we should because of our representation.
Well, I think we have some great things going on in our district. I'm very proud of our elected officials here in Boone County, from our judge executive. I work closely with him on road plans and on issues that come up like annexation. Now, we may not agree on some of the road plans, but we certainly have the communication. We've sat down for hours and discussed them and have that kind of relationship. Certainly the relationship with our county prosecutors, our county attorneys, the clerks, there were issues that came up that really would have overwhelmed them if the legislation that we were considering would have passed and having that. So I love the proactive approach that they do. And I think one of our shining gems is our sheriff's department. I'm very proud of Michael Helmig and his leadership. With many cities that are losing police officers and are in dire straits, Boone County is not. They are fully staffed with good morale, and we are very well protected here in Boone County, and I'm happy about that. Well, there's several things, certainly here in Union, and that is the majority of what I represent. I would like to see that we are a rapidly growing county. I believe we are now the fourth largest by population. And so we've had some growing pains, certainly with our roads. So I would like to see roads that make sense, roads that alleviate congestion and all the lights. I would like to see where we've had some promises made that weren't fulfilled.
To focus on, so we had an excellent representation from our local government to take federal funding and connect everybody with broadband. And upon that, we had an influx of businesses wanting to come into the area, so it stimulated economic development. With that economic development drove attainable housing and drove increased worker demand. So we need to continue our efforts in developing workforce development and continue to improve the infrastructure. And infrastructure is more than just roadways. It also goes into our water, sewer, sanitation, and emergency services. And of course, all of this starts off with our children. So we need to invest in our children, not only in the elementary education, all the way through workforce development as young adults. I'd like to review some of the bills that were proposed. As a licensed professional, I'm concerned with watering down the brand, with diluting the expertise needed to be a professional. We can't afford life safety to be compromised to get workers through the qualification system. And specifically, I'm talking about the reduction of professional engineers, professional licensed electricians, AVAC installers that are only out there for about 2 years of experience and still don't know quite what they're doing. And then we have to go back and fix those issues. That's the best case scenario. Worst case scenario is we have somebody that's killed or injured.
One of the things I want to continue, I have become the face of repealing certificate of need. And that is a constituent driven issue. That is not my own personal issue that came from all the doors that I knocked. In the simplest of terms, it's a government permission slip for any health entity that wants to enter into the state of Kentucky. As we have grown so rapidly, we have an aging population and not necessarily a healthy population. There's a demand for things like knee replacements and shoulder repair and fixes and things to help people age in place. And we certainly just don't have enough of those facilities to meet those needs.